All right, this is recording 749-749. Again, you can find me at Christina Statia, that's STATIA 918.com. Okay, so I've got a couple more recordings to make, and then I can get to current events. I haven't been able to check current events in a couple of weeks since I've been sick, and then trying to get caught up with these podcasts so then I can get to current events. So this is current events, but not current events on this one. So, I mean, it goes back in time, but okay, but it's also happening present day. Okay, so one thing I want to talk about is, okay, remember when I told you when I lived in Oklahoma City, you're going to have to go back to the podcast. It's on the internet. It's on my website. It's on Podbean. Soon I'll have Spotify caught up. I'm in the middle of migrating, because my Spotify ends at like recording 514. And so soon all my podcasts will be on Spotify. So, but right now it's kind of in the middle. But you can go to Podbean, you can go to my website. But remember when I told you when I lived in Oklahoma City that she poisoned the water? Okay, remember that podcast? Okay, I just saw a news story come through, and I know it got floated to my phone so I would see it. And I was like, oh my God. So there is reports of water poisoning here in Tulsa. Now, I know she's poisoned the water here in Tulsa a couple of different times, and she's dumping stuff in water treatment centers. She also might be messing with the pipes. But I've explained everything about the pipes and stuff in previous podcasts. I've already talked to you about what she's done to water treatment centers. So that's in my podcast also. So here in Tulsa, I saw a news report where they found water poisoning, and the water was being poisoned with, get this, barium. Barium. So, in other words, Burythem. And I was like, oh my God. And then my dad's name is Barry. Okay, so the barium, also it's got Mavis in it and everything else. Okay, so it's also got Mum, Silent War. It's probably got all kinds of stuff in it. So when I was reading the article, they said in the article that the people that were complaining of the water tasting salty. Okay, so remember I told you Gene Roberts committed stolen valor in the Navy. So they make a reference, there's like a cute reference to the Navy as being salty, okay? Which I think means like bitter or cranky or angry or rough around the edges is what I think it means. But it's like her making a reference to herself that she's salty. She thinks that everybody thinks that she's just, I already told you what she thinks of herself, and she has everybody worship her, and and I'm like, people are clueless. Like, first of all, she blames it on everybody else and portrays herself as a victim. Second of all, I press charges against her. Okay, you can obviously tell this is terrorism because nothing is happening. I'm not witness protection, and she's not arrested. And she's got people worshiping her and lying for her at every step and every turn. And she was able to, for a while, successfully suck military into feeling sorry for her and going out on a fraud attack for her. But military started getting wise to it, because what is that saying about the military? You know what I mean? Like, if you're in the military, you're supposed to be, and that's how America perceives you. That's how any country perceives their own military. You're supposed to be tough. You're supposed to be strong. And if I'm a civilian, I press charges against you, then why do you need to pull a fake Three Musketeers Act? Why do you need your butt covered? You're making yourself and the rest of the military look like pansies. So the military realized that about themselves, like, we're being made to look like fools. Christina talking about me, like, Christina's correct. If you listen to her podcast, she's correct. We can do what we can do by going to make our own reports and go find out what's going on and then get advised accordingly as we should be advised, and then get out of the way and let the United States government handle it. There doesn't need to be a Three Musketeers Act. There's not anybody in the military in the United States ever in history that ever had every other single person in the military bowing and worshiping and, oh my God, and you're just the all glorious blonde, and oh my God, let us go attack anyone and everyone for you. Let us shut Christina up for you. I mean, that is ridiculous. If you can't tell that that's criminal behavior and something is not right there, then you got to screw loose. Okay, so military did get temporarily duped like that, but they're very wise to it now. I press charges against her. Put us both on TV. I don't care. I mean, that's what I said I'm going to do anyway, because she keeps gang stalking me. She keeps attacking me. She keeps blaming everybody else. She keeps claiming that she's some new fake cop agency. No, you're not. You're criminals. You and your people are criminals. You're doing something evil somewhere where you're being allowed, where you're not really being allowed to get away with that. You're criminals. So anyway, I'm like, I'll just keep turning her in. She hacks me. I'll just turn her in again over and over and over and over until this is resolved. You joined, and then somebody else told me this too about her in reference to her. They said, well, she wasn't in the military. Well, she was in the military, but she joined fraudulently. She committed stolen valor. I decoded her planning to commit stolen valor. She planned to break apart the government in the future. She's the leader of Charles Manson, which is what she's trying to do present day. She wants to rip apart the military. She wants to frame them, set them up. She wants to just rip through everything with her criminals and just get away with her crap is what she wants to do. It's been her agenda this whole time. She used a fake name and she used fake credentials. Her name that she goes by, like I told you guys, her name that she goes by, you can go look her on Facebook. Jean Jernigan Roberts of Milton, Florida. That's the name that she goes by everywhere. That's not her real name. That's a fake name. I mean, you can tell just by looking at her name. So she really did join, but she joined fraudulently. She committed stolen valor. They said that doesn't, somebody else is saying that doesn't count as stolen valor if you join fraudulently. Yes, it does count as stolen valor. She was in, but she was in illegally. She did not join correctly, and she joined for fraudulent reasons. That is stolen valor. So anyway, what I said in response is, I'm like, well, no, she joined. She just joined fraudulently. She committed stolen valor. And they said, well, even with that being said, she knows the ways of the Navy because she joined. So she is purposely and intentionally dragging the Navy down. She has no way out of it. She is literally committing crime. And for her to act stupid and act like she's some victim somewhere and blame everybody else is stupid. It's just stupid. It's just stupidity. So anyway, I'll just keep making reports against her. I'll keep making reports against her. I have the facts. She's the liar. She's the terrorist. I'll keep making reports against her until the President of the United States responds. And there's court. And then, like I said, Jean can do her little lie spiel on the stand, which I really don't care what she does on the stand. I'll just wait for my turn. And then I'll be like, they're laughing. They're like, Christine, I'm talking to your voice, but I'm talking to you. I'm like, you've already like busted her, like way busted her personally. Though this needs to be on TV. And I'm not doing it to just get on TV. I give a crap less about TV. I'm doing this because the whole world needs to know that she is guilty and the world deserves justice. She needs to be executed and arrested and stop allowing her and her people to run around claiming she's the freaking... Oh, God, just don't even let me keep going on her. I just can't with her. Anyway, so the water is salty. So poison with barium and the water is salty. Okay, also, they said there was oily. It tasted oily is what they said. So when she poisoned the water when I lived in Oklahoma City, remember I told you she ran that racket? Remember and then she came onto my brain. I knew she poisoned the water. I could taste it. And then she came onto my brain and she pretended to be Bill Gates of Microsoft. And then, because I know a lot of people talking in my brain in AI. I mean, rich people have artificial intelligence. Rich people have the ability to speak in mental telepathy. This is not a new technology. It's not a hidden technology. It's not a secret technology. This technology really exists. The problem is that it's in criminal hands, which is in Gene Roberts' hands. That's the problem. So that means everybody's AI that they use for however they're using it is hijacked, which everybody already knows that. Now, anyway, so she literally came on and she literally like fooled me for a second. She came on and she pretended to be Bill Gates and she's like, oh, the water's poisoned? I'll go make a report. And the next thing you know, the water got shut off in my area. And then the water came back normal again. And then I found out that was her. It wasn't him because he came on. He's like, I didn't even know the water was poisoned. I didn't make any reports on water poisoning. And I'm like, that's freaking Jean running a freaking racket. So, and that's what she does. She'll go commit a crime and then she'll act like she's the savior or the cop of the crime. And she makes the report and then all her criminals make money. Okay. So anyway... So at that point, when she poisoned the water in Oklahoma City, I could taste the water. The water tasted oily. So, but it's not just with, so I'm like, she could have dumped barium in the water then, but I don't remember the water tasting salty, but I remember the water being like oily. But she poisoned the water when I lived in Oklahoma City, and I could see it in my brain. I had the visuals, see it in my brain. She was dumping snakes. And remember I told you these were smaller snakes. Like, these snakes were probably, I would say, 24 inches long. Like, that's the size of like 2 regular rulers. I would probably not even say 24 inches long. Okay. And they were calling them in my brain brown cichla snakes. And they were coiled. And she had them like bread tied. You know those ties that you put around the trash bags with it's got the hole at one end and then the tie has those like edges or whatever. And you put the edge through the hole and then that's how it seals the tie. That's how it seals it. That's what they were sealed with. And they were coiled like that, and they were throwing them in the water, and they were in the water treatment plant. And I could see them. I could literally see them. Little teeny tiny snakes. So that could mean those snakes had barium in them. It could mean the snakes had additional poisons in them. It could mean barium plus the snakes. But I'm saying, I'm just making this correlation so you know. And the article was ripping on Tulsa because why isn't Tulsa doing anything about the water being poison? And I guess Tulsa somehow got in trouble for it. But you need to know, Gene Roberts and Romanza Nicole have been poisoning the water. They've been doing it for several years now. They started poisoning the water in 2021, and they were poisoning the water everywhere. So she's probably got a lot of people paid. She's got sleeper cells everywhere, and everybody's got little different jobs to do. So it's probably not something that's going to end. It's probably going to get worse until you arrest Gene Roberts and Nicole. So anyway, so another thing I wanted to talk about was, okay, so I told you she uses ICE. I use that to stand for artificial intelligence, robotic technology, okay? So she uses robotic technology to control the environment, okay? So I told you she's done this in my own house where I live, okay? She's done this all of my life. In fact, when I lived in Oklahoma City and I had mental telepathy connections to leaders, people were in my brain figuring out that Gene Roberts had people's personal homes and their businesses ICE raped, and people were wanting to see how to know how to tell if she has been icing you and your family and controlling your family, and how to check for your environment to know that she has been doing that. And they were able to figure out a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of warning signals, okay? So you can go to my podcast, go to my previous podcast, it's in my podcast. So that people know how to look around in their environment and see if this woman has been using AI on you and people in your environment. So anyway, okay, so in my kitchen where I'm at now, she pre-planned for me to live here. You can tell just by looking. You can see on my podcast. You can see the patio. Remember I told you she even iced Murray, and that would go to Alfred P. Murray. She wanted to brag about getting away with doing the Oklahoma City bombing, lawnmower. All the settings, like everything everywhere, okay? So you can't control it because every dwelling, okay, every house there is, like businesses, everything everywhere, you can see it everywhere, okay? She used AI as a paintbrush to paint the environment the way she wanted right underneath everybody's noses. And if you notice it, your first instinct is like, such as if it's a business, your first instinct is like, oh, and what she planned on is to go get mad at the business where the business itself would have no idea. No, it just means that she was using AI on the business. So it has nothing to do with the business, just like it has nothing to do with the family or the home or anything else. She's using AI on everyone. And you can see it you can see how she's painted the environment everywhere. Okay, so remember I told you about her robbing the cartel, and remember she told me she was going to get away with it, and she told me that the cartel said she could rob them, that big gigantic safe, which is not true. They did not say that she could do that. And then Hollywood spoke up and said she's robbed Hollywood too, and they were just as angry with her. And you know she's a robber. She is a bank robber. And she robs ATMs. She robs banks. She robs everything. Okay, so I know you guys know that. So anyway, in my kitchen, like I pay attention to all the rooms. I don't so much anymore. And I really never paid attention with the eagle eye with everything. Because, I mean, once you see like 3 or 4 things, you're like, okay, she's ice raped the furnishings, she's ice raped the environment. Like I can see it. Like I don't need to like drive myself crazy. And she loves that. She wants me to just analyze the heck out of everything because she's a serial killer, and that's how serial killers are. If they kill, they leave a little trinket and they want to sit and watch the cops from afar with puzzled looks on their faces, like, and then out to solve the crime. Like, they get their jollies out of doing that. That's what Jean is. She wants to get her jollies out of it. Okay, so I don't feed into it. Like, okay, I get it. You ice raped, you use AI on people. I've got you turned in. You're not getting away with it. Like, I really just don't feed into it unless it's something significant that I need to mention. So anyway, remember when I told you, and I decoded this on paper. First I was told this, okay, and I freaked out. And then after that, I literally decoded it. And there's a little bit of an argument about it. But I go with what I decoded, and I also give massive gratitude to the people who told me about it, just like to the people, and giving massive gratitude to the people who told me about her assaulting me with a pencil when I was a baby, and then putting so it wasn't an image, putting the video in my head where I could see it myself, I could see myself being assaulted. Like, I was something I did not want to see. I was so grossed out, and I was freaking out. This is when I was in Dallas. And it was on my, no, that's when they were telling me about the snakes. That was on my way to Dallas. But that's when I was in Dallas, and I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see it. And they're like, no, you need to see this. You need to know that she did this. And so I'm like seeing it in my brain, and I'm like, oh my God. So I give massive gratitude to people who told me this. So, but there's a little bit of an argument but that's probably what they knew. They're only saying what they knew. But I go later on, I decode, and I figure out they're correct. And it's even more so. So remember I told you there are snake pits underground, okay? And I told you they're all over the United States, but I'm talking this particular part of the United States. Underground, they're massive, 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 massive snake pits. And what I was told is that they span 4 states. Okay. And so I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God. Well, then I go to decode much later on, and I'm trying to see if I can see it by decoding. And I see that it's actually 6 states. It's not 4 states, it's 6 states. Those snake pits span 6 states wide. And so that's where the argument is. There are people under the belief that it's 4 states. Then you got the Jean's people who lied. That's just made up. That's not even true. Nothing to see here, folks. I don't live in that world. I do not live in that world. And there's probably not anybody in Tulsa that has heard about these snakes that hasn't went and verified for themselves that there are snakes underground. There's nobody, I think, in Tulsa that lives in that world. Nothing to see here, folks. I think a lot of people know there are snakes underground, and there are snake terrorism going on. And I think it's that way in a lot of the United States. There's no denying it. So anyway, but that's what the argument was, like, well, I decoded, I'm Christina, stop trying to steal my speech. So I decoded it 6 states wide, and they're like, no, it's 4 states. No, it's 6 states. It says here 6 states. Look at the decode. It's 6 states. It's 6 states wide. So that's where a little bit of the argument comes in. But anyway, so I get here, and this would occur in any house. This isn't specific to where I'm living. This occurs in any house. But somebody pointed out to me something that they figured out about a range. Okay? So a range is an oven with the stovetop, and you've got the 4 burners. Okay, so they pointed out to me the stove, and they're like, look. And I was like, oh my God. This is freaking for real, because what she tries to do, or what she likes to do, is she likes to model or create or paint what's really going on and put it in the universe all around us all the time, hiding in plain sight, and nobody knows it's there, and nobody knows what to look for or what to see. And then when you see it, you're like, oh my God, this is really freaking real. So if you look at that, even the glass top stoves that are solid glass, ice, even that. So if you look at even the gas stove, even that. But so if you look at the electric stove, the coils, what does that look like? It looks like snakes coiled up. And how many is on a typical stovetop? 4. So it's like you're literally looking at the 4 states. So where I live now, so I'm like, oh my God, this is real. I was freaking out. So then, where I'm living at now, they're like, well, let me show you something else. They're like, look to your left. Now in my kitchen, I have an oven with the electric burners on it, 4 electric burners. And to the left, I have, in a separate cabinet to the left, 2 ovens. There's a top oven and a lower oven. So there's the smaller ovens that are like stacked on top of each other. So 2 ovens. So they're like, look, there's 6 right there. Counting the ovens, there's 6. Look what she did there. So you're correct where you're decoding 6 states. It's right there in your kitchen. So then somebody showed me something else, and this is another one of Jean's big shticks, is blame Mexico, blame the cartel, blame everybody. She's white and fabulous. She can't be blamed for anything. It is her doing. I was there for one of her underground explosions that she set off in Texas, and I was there listening. This is my brain. Stop trying to control. Stop trying to talk like you're me, whoever you are. I was living in Texas. I had cartel on my brain. There's a whole bunch of people on my brain. A whole bunch of people. Okay. So, remember when I told you, no, I'm not going to talk about it right now. I'd rather just let idiots speculate. And then if idiots speculate, nothing to see here, folks, then you know they're connected to people that are lying to them. And then you follow those people, and then you find the criminals. I'm not going to say anymore. It's already in my previous podcast anyway. So anyway, so I was connected to a whole bunch of people. So I was on with them. So I forget what I was even gonna. Oh, there was an explosion in North Texas underground, and that's when one of the major snake runs happened. And it was the scariest thing in the entire world. Okay, so you have to go through all of my podcasts to get all the details on all of that. And it's very, very, very real. That's when I got connected to Schwarzkopf, who was freaking out. He's still alive. Who was freaking out, and he was paying attention to the ground around me. He was paying attention to the entire environment. Everyone was paying attention to everything. And those snakes, Jean was trying to migrate into Mexico, and Mexico was freaking out. So, and there were people that were coming on in my brain, pinging on and off all over the United States. Some of it was out east, some of it was in California, some of it was in Mexico. If anybody could see the floor, the ground moving, the walls moving, the ceiling moving, all that. This was a major explosion that happened underground the United States isn't going to talk about. And soldiers were lost. A lot of people were lost. The explosion was on a part of when the soldiers were lost, but it's all the same time frame. And no, the United States isn't talking about any of it, but everybody knows this really did happen. So anyway, okay, so Mexico was freaking out. Okay. They were scared to death. And what Jean does present day is she literally tries to blame the cartel, and she literally tries to blame Mexico. And I'm like, you stupid white honky fucking whore. Sorry for the cursing. This is my brain and body. I've had mental telepathy, ability to communicate in two-way with my conscience for 10 years. You've used ice on me my entire life. My ability to have two-way dialogue in my brain and mental telepathy, be able to communicate back and forth to people, has been 10 years now. Ever since I was in Slidell. Like, you're literally lying to people in my brain, and I can hear you lying to people in my brain. And you think I'm not going to make reports against you for it? You think I'm going to let you slay humanity and not turn you in? I'd rather go to heaven knowing that I was killed by someone trying to shut me up and they eventually die and go to hell than ever die knowing I said nothing and did nothing to stop a terrorist. Anyway, so she tries to blame them. It is not their doing at all. It is Jean Roberts' doing. She has been breeding those snakes underground, and she has been breeding in snake pits for 60 years. And remember I told you some of those snakes have bombs in them. Remember I went through every single detail with you, telling you they've got like some kind of attachments in them. Like, because I could hear every little detail. I paid attention to every little detail, every little noise. I paid attention to every single thing. So anyway, it is not Mexico's doing. And Mexico is angry because there's a lot of parts of Mexico where they don't have the facilities or the capabilities. Like, what are they supposed to do in that kind of event? Like, how dare you? And then you turn around and blame them? Like, you need to be executed, Jean. And then the picture that Jean used to float around in my brain, and then she told people to cover it up for her. She bragged about it, and she told people to cover it up for her. And she was holding one of those baby snakes. One of them when they were a baby, and it was a black one. And it was like, I would say probably about like 4 feet long. It was real wide, real fat, and it wrapped around like her hip, and then the top of it like went over her shoulder. And she's just standing there just smiling. And when I'm talking about Jean Jernigan Roberts, you can see a picture of her on my website. She's just smiling her ass off. She has been breeding those suckers for 60 freaking years. So anyway, some of them are iced, where she can robotically control, like she can robotically control all anything with the heartbeat. But like I told you before, like I told you in my previous podcast, when I was talking to people, I literally would talk to people that she would hire to control the snakes. And with using AI, like they've got IPs and everything. And they would just keep them like not moving or keep them at bay. Jean and her people, they would like mess around with it's just really bad. So anyway, and I know Jean's little nasty lies to cover up what her supposed utilization of the snakes are for. Oh, because that sounds legitimate and logistical. Okay, Jean, everybody's just going to believe your nasty little fucking lie. I mean, she's got a lie for everything. She's insane. So anyway, so she literally tried to blame Mexico. So you can tell she pre-planned to blame Mexico. Because I get here at Oxford, I could not freaking believe this. So anyway, I'm paying attention to everything. And I already know all this about the stove and the snakes. Then I'm going to the kitchen one day and somebody moves my head to the right. And they point to the hood. Okay. Also, what Jean Roberts in her Facebook cover photo. She's got all of her grandchildren standing in front of her weathered Ford. And she's got them all there as hood ornaments so she can sling it either direction. Just racist as shit. And then also feeding Klan and pretending that she's neither one. She's the hippie and she's innocent. She's literally trafficking her grandchildren. Literally. And I've already went through all of it on my podcast with you. But anyway, not my concern. I don't care. Those grandchildren have parents. Her son, she doesn't have an oldest son. She has one child. His name is Jesse. If he hasn't turned his mother in, that's their family problem. I don't care. I'm turning in Gene. I'm turning in his mother. Nobody's watching out for you or your grandkids while she's out there icing everyone else's. She's pay attention to her son Jesse, her daughter-in-law Francesca, and her grandchildren. All she wants to do is fricking sell them. Well, I don't give a shit. I'm going to keep turning her in. You guys should be making her focus on her own family. If she wants to sell someone, she can sell her own family and leave everyone else the hell alone. Is what you at least could do. But anyway, so I'm walking in the kitchen, right here where I live now, and then someone moved my head to the right to stare at the hood over the range, over the stove. And I was like, oh my God. She pre-planned to do that. She pre-planned to blame Mexico because the brand above the range is Braun. B-R-A-H-N. So she's saying brown is what she's saying. And then if you do the knick-knack paddywhack or Charles Manson knick-knack paddywhack cipher, then you can decode more out of brown and brawn. So she's literally like trying to like blame, like she pre-planned to blame them. They did not do that. She's attacking their nations also. Their nation also, but they've got multiple nations. But there's no telling what's going on further south, like in Brazil or even farther south. There's no telling what's going on. But she's attacking Mexico. Like, I couldn't believe it. It's right there on the range. So that shocked the crap out of me. So then, let me fast forward and switch topics again. Same topic, still talking about Spanish people. Okay, and Gene trying to blame them. Okay, so Paul Wall. This goes to another recording that I just did where before I started on the Fibonacci spiral. So you want to go back about that far. So Paul Wall. Okay, Paul Wall is a famous Latin rapper. He's my age. I look at him and I'm like, because I'm getting old. I'm 55. So I look at Dr. Dre and I look at Snoop. Like I look at people that came up with the music and I'm like, you are just like, you're precious. Like, you're just precious. Like, seeing people age in front of my eyes, and I'm aging too, and it's like, I mean, because you come up with the same musicians that you've listened to, and you just love, and they're just precious to you. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, I looked at a recent thing of Paul Walls, and I'm like, oh my God, he's getting old. I'm like, oh my God. And they're like, well, you're getting old telling me that. I'm like, well, I know, I'm 55. Well, anyway, so she chose Paul Wall's name and she stalked the crap out of him, and somehow I think she white peopled him too. And he keeps coming in, or his people keep coming in saying they're not doing this with Gene anymore. They got white people. They're not doing this with Gene anymore. They're not helping Gene anymore. And then I also hear she's got their people trapped. She's got their people. They're going to not let go. They're going to stay involved until Gene's arrested. So I hear like two different things coming from Spanish people. Okay, Paul Wall is a Spanish rapper, a Spanish American rapper. So anyway, so Paul Wall, you can tell she chose his name too. So Paul, that would go back to the book of Paul. And then you can tell she used Vans Off the Wall. And then the off the wall would go to the future, no wall at the border, which there really shouldn't be a wall. There really shouldn't be a wall at all. They're like, I am not of any school of thought of, I don't want to hear what anybody has to say. Okay, obviously, we should not have people trapped behind a wall. And at the same time, obviously, we want people to be able to come into the United States, but the way to come into the United States is too difficult. That needs to be simplified times 100. Like, I don't think there should be any of that going on at all. Like, just let people in. And with future terrorism, I don't think any of that should be going on at all. I think it should just be open. But I'm not the leader of the United States of America, so that's my personal opinion. But I know future terrorism, and if people need to run and people need to go, they should be able to run, they should be able to go. I don't think we should be stopping them. So I have a total, when it comes to political opinion, like, you don't want my opinion on it. The majority of the United States does not want my opinion on it, because I don't believe in any of that. I don't think there should be a wall at all. Especially, like, if you want to do government red tape and just keep making life difficult for people, making immigration difficult because you just don't want to fix things the right way, and you just want to keep making life hell for everybody, you know what? That's just every other day. That's just every other day occurrence in the government in the United States of America. What I'm saying is, this is not an every other day kind of occurrence. There is future terrorism involved. If people need to be able to get out, they need to be able to go. Like, there should not be any of that, anything. Like, make it simpler for people to get in, and then there should be no walls, period. But anyway, so she took advantage of, and then the wall, she used the wall. They probably also use, it's not Paul Wall that did, it's just Gene Roberts using ice on people. She heavily appeals to and tries to heavily appeal to Latin people by lying to them, and hides what she's done to them. And you have all of my recordings to know what she has done to them, the crimes that she has committed against them, how she tries to frame them, how she always tries to convince them to be the fall guy and the bad guy, and then we'll just kick you back something on the backside later. Blame the Mexicans. No, I'm sick of that shit. So, like, you want people around when you're getting something out of them. Other than that, you just want to use them. Otherwise, all I ever hear is dis. And I'm sick of all of it. So anyway, so Paul Wall, when she chose his name, what she used was a spin on Paul Young. Okay? So Paul Young is a singer. He is a singer, and he's from the early 80s. And he sang a song, "Every Time You Go Away, You Take a Piece of Me with You." Okay, so he came out when Corey Hart came out with "I Wear My Sunglasses at Night," so real early 80s, 84, 85. Okay, so that shows that she not only stalked Paul Wall, but she stalked Paul Young also. Okay, and then you guys know Young goes to Youngstown. And so she, like, aligns the release of the music. Now, this one, she thinks is the release that she did of this music, she thinks is a major convenience point for her, because she wants to get away with those lies that she told about the early 80s. And she wants to flip it around and tell lies and continue to do the same damn thing, which is what she's doing present day. And I'm like, no, bitch, you need to go to jail. I don't know who in their right mind let you and your occult just run freaking wild, doing whatever the heck you want to humanity, but you need to go to jail. So anyway, she told lies about it, trying to appeal to people, trying to get people to go on attack for her. And they said, no, Gene, you're lying. You are lying. Plus, what do I need to help your ass for? What'd you ever do for me? That's kind of where people's mindset is now. Like, stop coming to me. And what I say is, if she approaches you, like on the street, if she approaches you, even if she approaches you in the form of posing as a government, you should be like you should be triplicating, you should be like raising your rates. Because you have the upper hand, because Gene is the criminal, Gene is the liar, Gene's about to go to jail, and you have all the people in the world looking out for you. You do not have to do what the dirty white man tries to sucker you into doing anymore. You have the upper hand. Jean Roberts is a liar, and so is her occult. So anyway, so Paul Young connects to Paul Wall, even though W-Y and then there's a Z, and then you have the movie that came out, World War Z, and then look at Paul Wall's name. So you guys think that crap is funny? You guys think that's funny to do to people? To help some fucking goddamn honky fucking hippie get away with doing that to people, to Latin people, lying to them, hustling, trying to trick them into being the fall guy, and then doing that kind of shit behind their freaking back? My family is Spanish and black. And I constantly get lied about by fucking little Ku Klux Klan bitches and little spoiled fucking white bitches that want to be famous for being little pieces of fucking white trash shit covering up for some bitch who committed stolen valor and lying for her and helping her get away with terrorism and trafficking. It's like, it's insane. Like, I could go rant forever, but I'm not going to. I'm saying, look at how evil she is. And she did that by using ice on musicians. So I wanted to do that. I wanted to talk about all of that in this recording. And then I'm going to end this recording, and then I have a couple more recordings to make.